Hey, what's up guys? Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. In today's video I want to talk about a concept that is much more obvious on a guitar than it is on, say, a piano. So you've probably heard me mention in other videos before that I always recommend that people at least play around with the piano. You don't have to get anything expensive, just pick up a cheapy little keyboard, mess around with the keyboard every once in a while. So many theory concepts become so much more clear when visualized on a piano than on a fretboard. And that's simply just because of the layout of the notes. On a piano, everything's linear. You go this way, the notes go down in pitch. You go this way, the notes go up in pitch. Everything's very, very clear. On a guitar, the notes are all over the place. You have 6 strings, you have 22 frets or 24 frets. The notes are all over the place. So a lot of concepts on the guitar are not quite as clear. However, in this lesson, this particular concept that we're talking about today is much more obvious on a guitar than it is on a piano. All right, so this lesson is going to take place in the A Dorian mode. So A Dorian is the second mode of G major. So what does that mean? So modes are not as confusing as everyone makes them out to be. It's very, very simple. The A Dorian mode shares the same notes, the same chords, the same everything as G major. That's why it's a mode. All right, so G major has the notes G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. Those are the 7 notes found in the key signature of G major. So that means that for this entire lesson, because we're in the A Dorian mode, and A Dorian is a mode of G major, that means for this entire lesson, we're not going to use any other notes except for G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. If you look at the chords that are found in the key signature of G major, you have a G major, an A minor, a B minor, a C major, a D major, an E minor, and an F sharp diminished chord. Those are the 7 chords found in the key signature of G major. If you look at the 7 chords that are found in A Dorian, it's the exact same 7 chords. So all of the same stuff that's found in G major is going to be found in A Dorian. The only difference is that instead of focusing on G as our tonal center, instead of focusing on the G major chord as the home chord, what the progression all kind of leads back to, the only difference is that now A is our tonal center. And the A minor chord of those 7 chords that are in the key signature of G major, the A minor chord is now the tonal center. Alright, so now that you're clear about the fact that the chord progression is the driver of the sound, let's now look at the lead guitar framework for this modal playing that we're going to do. So, as I already said, we're in the key signature of G major, which is a relative major of E minor. So E minor, G major, it's a relative major-minor pair. They share the same notes. They share the same pentatonic patterns. Everything is the same about them, except in G major, G is your tonal center. In E minor, E is your tonal center. So this is your pentatonic position number 1 for E minor, G major. So if you start on the note E and you play to the next note E, you're playing the E minor pentatonic scale. Continue up. So that's your E minor pentatonic scale. You can use that same pattern, that same position number 1. You can start on the note G, play through to the next G, and you're playing the G major pentatonic scale. So that's going to be your pentatonic position number 1 for E minor, G major. If you want to go ahead and you want to add in those 2 additional notes to create the full diatonic scale, when viewed from the minor perspective, it's called the E natural minor scale. When viewed from the major perspective, it's called the G major scale. You can still stay right within this pattern, just add in those 2 extra notes. So E natural minor scale, G major scale. Alright, so that's your E minor, G major scale right there in that pentatonic position number 1. You can also play the Dorian scale right here. It's the same notes, everything about it's the same, just focus on the note A. So starting on the note A and using the same scale pattern. course, all the rest of the notes are available to you as well. So you have this pattern right here, and that's typically where the piano player will be good up till, right? So on a piano right now, a piano player will say, okay, I'm in the key signature of G major. G major and E minor are a relative major-minor pair. If I want to use these same 7 notes, I want to dictate my tonal center to be the note A. I'm playing a Dorian mode. Of course, the underlying rhythm progression is really what dictates the sound. So that's kind of like how a piano player would view it. They would think, all right, so I know my 5 pentatonic notes. I know which additional 2 notes to add in order to create the full diatonic scale. Check, I got all that stuff. Now we're going to take advantage of the guitar player perspective. We're going to take advantage of this pentatonic shape right here. And instead of calling this our pentatonic position number 1 between 12 and 15, we're now going to move down here. And this is going to be our new pentatonic position 1 between frets 5 and 8. So when you do that, you're switching your 5 notes that you're dictating to be the pentatonic notes. It's not going to be the same 5 notes anymore. However, these 5 notes are still part of the overall key. So as I said, the key signature that we're working in, the notes that we're not playing any other notes aside from these 7 notes, G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. So right here, if you use this as your pentatonic position number 1, you have A, C, D, E, and G, and then back at A. So those 5 notes are all part of this key signature. These 5 notes are all part of the key signature too. So you have E, G, A, B, and D, and then back at E. So whether you use this pentatonic as your position number 1, or whether you use this pentatonic as your position number 1, you're still going to be in key. It makes more sense to use this one as your position number 1, though, because our tonal center is A. The A minor chord is what the whole chord progression is kind of leading back to. So instead of using this pentatonic position, which is E minor or G major pentatonic position number 1, of course you could change your focal note within this pattern to be the note A within this pattern. You can do that. It kind of makes more sense to say, all right, well, I don't want to use that anymore. I want to use this as my pentatonic position number 1, because now, my first finger's on the note A. I'm very, very familiar with this pentatonic pattern. I like this as my pentatonic position number 1. So you can go ahead and you can add in your 2 additional notes as well to create the full diatonic scale, to create these same 7 notes that we're using the entire time. It's just that the notes are going to be in different locations. So to add in those extra notes, you have so the notes are in those locations here. If you consider this as your pentatonic position number 1, the additional 2 diatonic notes are going to be here. Of course, you could still use this pattern if you want, dictating the note A to be your tonal center. It just makes more sense to me personally, this is just another perspective, to use this pentatonic as our position number 1 within this key signature when viewed from the Dorian perspective. So hopefully I'm making sense here. So the reason that this is it's a different perspective of what you're treating to be the pentatonic is because if you take this and call this your pentatonic position number 1, then all 5 of the pentatonic positions spanned across the entire fretboard are all going to be in reference to this being your position number 1. So this is your pentatonic scale. This is the A minor pentatonic scale spanned across the entire neck of the guitar. In any of those 5 positions, you go ahead and add in those 2 additional notes. You can do that. You just have to know where those 2 additional notes fit in. If you instead consider this to be your pentatonic position number 1, that's fine. You can do that too. But all 5 of your pentatonic positions are going to be now in reference to this. So you have your pentatonic framework, your pentatonic shell, and then you can just add in the 2 additional notes. But the 2 additional notes that you're adding now are going to be the notes F sharp and the note C. ultimately resulting in the full diatonic scale. So no matter which way you look at it, you have 5 pentatonic notes and then 2 additional notes that needed to be added to each of the 5 positions. Whether you're viewing this as your pentatonic position number 1 or this is your pentatonic position number 1 does not change the theory behind it. You still have your 5 pentatonic notes and then you have your 2 additional diatonic notes. Putting everything together, you have your full diatonic scale. It's just which one do you like the sound of better? Do you like treating this as pentatonic position number 1 or do you like treating this as pentatonic position number 1? Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you like this lesson, definitely stop by, check out some of my other stuff. zombieguitar.com is my website. I've been working on that for about 7 years now. Tons and tons of stuff, tons of video backing tracks, structured courses, all that stuff. Link to that's in the description. I also have a Patreon page I just started recently. Patreon page is just basically like this YouTube channel, except a couple more videos each week. So if you like this YouTube channel where I'm just kind of talking about random topics here and there, Patreon's like that times 2 or 3. So links to all that stuff is in the description if you want to check that out. Thank you very much. See you next time.